Hey, Kingdom Builders, welcome back to the altar. And for those of you joining me here for the first time at Kingdom Wealth Ministries, a special welcome to you. You all, the Lord has sent me here today with a special message for those of you who are in environments that are not reflecting who you are as a person, who you are as a child of God, and who you are destined to be. God started showing me that a lot of you are living in and working in environments that speak to less than when He has called you to be greater than. There is a knowing inside of you that you are bigger than your environment. The things that you see, the things that you feel, the things that you are learning, the things that you hear are all less than who God has called you to be. There are those of you who are living in environments where everywhere around you speaks to lack, speaks to poverty, speaks to not having enough, speaking to not good enough. God is saying you have to reject that environment. In other words, the environment that you are in, don't let that environment get on the inside of you. You have to overcome your environment. You have to rise above your environment. If you are working around a lot of people who don't have goals, who don't have dreams, who don't have big visions from the Lord, they can tempt you to think like them, to be like them, to behave like them. God is saying, do not let your environment get on the inside of you. Don't allow these people, don't allow your surroundings, the climate, the environment trick you into believing that you are not who God says you are. So though you are in an environment that speaks to lack, speaks to not going anywhere, you might even feel limited because of the environment that you are in. God is saying, do not allow that to cause you to be fooled and deceived. God is saying, realize who you are. Though you are in a limited environment, God is saying you are not a limited person. You are a big person. You are going places. So do not settle into your environment. There are some of you who work around people and live around people. All they do is gossip. They want to talk about this person and that person, and they want to engage you in these lower level conversations. God is saying, don't let that get on the inside of you. Rise above it. Somebody type in the comments, rise above. Rise above, because you have to rise above your environment. And in order to do that, you have to reject the environment itself. In other words, you have to say, you know what, this environment I'm in, this is not me. I know God has called me to greater. I'm not going to settle. I'm not going to accept it. I reject it. You know who rejected his environment in the Bible? Daniel. When he got to Babylon, he was like, you know what, this is not me. Yes, you can invite me to the king's table, but I am not eating that meat that you sacrifice to other gods. I am not partaking in your vegetation and your meals. I don't want the things that you're drinking. I don't want the things that you are eating. I want what my culture, what my God says I should have. So therefore, I am rejecting this. I am rejecting this. How many of you need to reject certain things that people in the culture are trying to feed to you? No, back then I used to listen to Beyonce, and it used to make me feel seductive and sexual, and it made me want to go out and have sex and twerk and all these things, but I am rejecting it. And yeah, I hear it in my environment, but I am rejecting the environment. I am rejecting the part of the culture that does not align with who God says I am or who God says I should be. Amen. There are those of you that the Lord is elevating to high levels. You are going up and ascending up high mountains of influence. So you have to begin to reject environments now, because when you get up to that mountain, there are a lot of environments and a lot of things that you're going to have to reject. You're going to have to reject the lasciviousness. You're going to have to reject the drugs. You're going to have to reject certain deals and certain opportunities that don't align with God. So now you have to begin to practice rejecting the environment. No, I am not going to let this environment overcome me. Instead, I am going to overcome and influence the environment. So what it all boils down to is influence. Are you allowing your environment to influence you, or are you influencing your environment? Remember, God has called us to be light in darkness. And some of you, the Lord is showing me that you have allowed darkness to so seep in that you have become like them. God is saying, no, you have to be the light. You have to speak the truth, even when everybody else wants to be deceived and listening to lies. God is saying you have to bring that love, even in an environment that is hostile and people just accept all this hostility, that this is the way of life. God is saying, no, you influence the environment. Reject it to the point where it doesn't become you, so that you can be who God has called you to be inside of that environment. Amen. If you catch what is coming out of the altar today, type it in the comments. I catch it. I catch it. I reject my environment. I reject who society says I am. And I receive and behave in such a way that I know who God has called me to be. I am a child of God. I am a king. I am a queen. Therefore, I am rejecting this environment. There are some of you that God is saying, look, you have to move out of that environment. Remember what God told Abraham? Leave from your father's house. Listen, you are not like them. I am calling you apart. I am setting you apart. You have to reject the environment in that sense. So much so where you're like, you know what? This is not me. I'm bigger than this. I'm greater than this. Deuces, I'm leaving. I reject this environment. I'm going somewhere where they dream big. I'm going somewhere where people are still ambitious and motivated. I am getting myself in an environment that is going to push me to greatness, not keep me here in this slum, not keep me here in this hole, in this dark place. You have to reject the environment. Who am I talking to today? Where God is saying, look, you have to reject the environment. You have to get out of this limited environment. You know, I can remember growing up in the hood. I come from a small town in upstate New York, USA, Poughkeepsie, New York, and everything in my environment spoke to lack. There was so much poverty in the environment where people had to borrow simple things like sugar. Can I borrow some sugar? I don't have enough sugar. Can I borrow some flour? I don't have enough flour. You know, so the whole environment spoke to lack. And I remember my dad moving me to Georgia, causing me to think bigger, exposing me to bigger things, even to the point where I outgrew that environment. And I decided, you know what? I am leaving. I am going to LA. So when I moved to LA, I started to think bigger, to dream bigger. And it was so in alignment with who God is calling me to be and the things that I'm doing now. I am a bigger, better person now because I rejected smaller, limited environments. And there are those of you that God has called to greatness. He has called you to wealth. He has called you to be a leader. He has called you to take over certain environments, certain nations. You have to begin to align yourself with environments that are conducive to where God is taking you. And that is the message of the day, ladies and gentlemen. I have to go because I have a meeting. I have several appointments. I just wanted to give you that today because I'm aware of who you are. I know that God has chosen you for greatness. And I know that there are environments that might hold you back if the Lord isn't successful at sending this message today through me. So if you receive it, type I receive it in the comments. And if you so please, and if you feel led, if you'd like to sow into this ministry, you may do so by locating the information in the description box. And if you'd like to contact me on social media, email me, you can do so again by locating the information in the description box. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, The Altar, and hit that notification bell because you never know when the word of the Lord is going to come forth. And it's going to be a word that blesses your entire life, not just your day, but your life and your destiny. Amen. Amen. So until next time, brothers and sisters, have a great weekend. Be safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Go forth and prosper. Love you guys. Goodbye.